Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghost Media's Spooky Talk with Madison Smith from Madison Paranormal. You can find Spooky Talk every other Sunday, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, right here live on Paranormal Buzz Radio. Be sure to join in the live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or downloading the Spreaker app for all devices.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host, Madison Smith.
Hi everyone, I'm Madison Smith. I'd like to welcome you all to Spooky Talk with Maddie. Tonight's guest is someone I know personally. I met him this past summer when I made a trip to the Buffalo area to investigate the Hinsdale house. I got to explore his store and chat with him for a while. So can we all give a very spooky welcome to Joe Pieri, owner of Paranormal Oddities in Depew, New York.
Hello. Thank you, Maddie, for having me tonight. I appreciate this. I'm excited to be on your show. And now I think you were here in the summer, and we have expanded as well. So I got to catch you up on all the updates that we've made here.
I'm very excited to hear about it.
There's lots of fun things. Again, we're in Depew, New York. We're one of the only stores in the West New York area that serves up the paranormal attitude, as we like to say. We have all the flavors of all the different types of gear, activities with one-on-one interviews, and we also have a venue that is representing the metaphysical and spiritual world as well.
Mm-hmm. Under applause. All right. So, before we start, would you like to tell people where they can find you at, social media-wise, and any other way?
Sure. You can find us on Facebook. Everyone loves that Facebook thing. So we're at Paranormal Oddities and Venue. So you want to type in the full thing, you can find us there. And you can find us on the website as well at paranormaloddities.com, and you can see everything we're up to. If you go to the website, you can also see the paranormal team that I have. It's called Paranormal Crossroads. Is there too. You can see all the things that we're up to, the privates and public events we're planning on holding in the year 2022. Boy, that's a scary number. 2022. Woof.
Gives me shivers. Quaking in my boots, man. All right. So shall we get started?
Yes, absolutely.
That took you a while to answer. You're just like, do I really want to get started on this?
No, it's just I keep losing the feed here. I'm hoping it holds. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. I'm working on a computer that is teetering right now. I'm saying that we're done, but we're going to get through it. I promise.
I'm rooting on your computer right now.
Me too. It's the only one I have left.
It's okay, guys. Don't panic. It'll all be fine. As long as the computer holds up. All right. So, how about we start off with how you got into the paranormal? What introduced you to it?
Oh, I'm about to date myself here. Back in high school in 1986, we had to write a thesis to graduate. The school required that we write some type of book/thesis to put into the library to explain who we are, and what we hope to accomplish. And in the years to come after high school. And my mentor was a science professor that we used to call him the redheaded Einstein. He took me under his wing and says that I was going to be his mentor, and he didn't want anything straight and narrow. He wanted me to step outside the box. So I did, and I wrote the paper of paranormal research. What else? The psychic ability we did, mediumship, ESP, anything that was odd and unusual, that wasn't normal. I wrote the paper. He liked it, and he invited me out on my first paranormal investigation of May of 1986. I was hooked. He had me. I knew this was something that I wanted to do for a long, long time, and I didn't expect it was going to be 35 years, but here we are. It's been an incredible journey. Just seeing how the paranormal has changed from decade to decade, how more open it is today than it was in 1986 and even the 1990s. But, boy, I look back at all those days, all the investigations. I have 28 journals filled out, and these journals consist of everything I've done since 1986.
So, where was your first paranormal investigation at, and how was it?
Well, the first one in 86 was at a residential home up in Clarence, New York. It was an old farmhouse. When I was with my instructor, my mentor, we were investigating at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we wrapped up at 7 o'clock, so it was still daylight out. It's not how we do it now, where we wait for it to get dark and use night vision, because back in 86, night vision was very expensive. You're talking one night vision camera had at least cost between $10,000 and $20,000, and that was undoable back then. It was great. We actually had to charge the client, and we charged them for the roll of film, 12, 24, and 36 of a 35 millimeter camera to get the developed and so, even the cassettes that we used for the investigation. But again, it was only like 3 hours, and it was daylight. The family was there. We wandered around while they cooked their dinner, ate their dinner, and a lot different than the way we do it today.
And comparing from when you started and now, what would you say was different?
I'm going to say 95% of everything we do is different. It really has changed. The gear itself, there is a plethora of gear out there now we can use during an investigation. It's not the standard recorder / camera / compass. That's what we used to use, the 3 items. We didn't have an electromagnetic field detector at the time. We used to use a standard compass to detect any kind of anomalies. Today is, wow. I mean, you can scan the website and go on to 5 different websites and spend thousands of dollars and have 16 cases of gear. That was unheard of back in the 80s. But I think it's better. I think our technology today has to be at least 10 times better than what we had back then. But again, we used to catch stuff on just the basics, which was impressive.
Very nice. Nicely done. All right. And then, when was your first encounter? And how did that go?
First encounter. Wow. The more I think about it, I'm going to go back to, I think, 87, 88. Again, it was in Clarence, New York. And it was another home that they were going to take down. And I spent the night in the house. And I saw my first apparition, which we call shadow figures today. Back then, we didn't have that name. We would just call it an anomaly. But it was impressive. I thought there was actually a person standing in the room. Again, it had no color to it. It was black and white. Did it scare me? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was terrified. I think I spent all 36 pictures on that one entity where I just kept firing away. But that was something. Wow, that's a long time ago. But I was alone in the house in a sleeping bag, in an abandoned house just trying to conduct some type of paranormal activity. And that was my first face-to-face with the what we call today a shadow figure.
Mm-hmm. Did you get sleep that night?
I must have, because I woke up with a lot of dew on me. Like, there was no windows in this house, and it was a cooler night. But I was in that sleeping bag, pretty bundled up. I did eventually fall asleep. I think what woke me up was the following morning. It was pouring out. You could hear the water coming through the roof onto the floor next to me. But yeah, I think I got a couple hours. Most of the night, I think my eyes were wide open, just in fear of what I saw. I really wanted to go, but I reserved myself and said, you know what, this is why we're here. Let's just, suck it up and say, let's deal with it, or we'll tuck our fears away and stay on the investigator side and gather as much data as possible.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any theories of why maybe it showed itself to you in a way?
I think it was concern that there was somebody there. I mean, again, this abandoned house, nobody was there for years. He was trying to figure out why it was there. Did it answer any of my EVPs? It did not, but it was there. I think it was more concerned as saying, I think we have an intruder. As the night got, darker and darker, you couldn't see as much. I did leave a lantern on just so I could hopefully see if anything came close to me. But when it stood in the doorway with the light coming from behind it, I think it was a street light on the opposite side of the street, I saw the silhouette. So for all I know, this thing was probably around me the entire night. But it refused to answer any of the questions, which is odd. I like when they get very vocal.
Mm-hmm. And have you had any clear EVPs to where you didn't have to listen back to it, but it was just straightforward, you could hear it?
VPs where you hear it with the naked ear, or
yes,
naked
ear.
Yep, definitely. That's my favorite. That's where the entity has enough energy to bypass its low frequency and high frequency. And when we can hit mid-range where the naked ear can hear it, or the human ear can hear it, that's my favorite because, again, that's direct communications, and that shows an intelligence. And we're still at a point today where we can't justify it yet. We don't know who or what we're talking with, but it's a lot of fun. One of these days, we're actually going to be able to have a full conversation face-to-face across the table with the spirit. And I think your generation is the one who's going to crack the code and be able to do that. Like I said, we laid the road, all those old people, we laid the road down. We took the beating in the 90s and early 2000s where people told we were crazy, didn't believe in it. Now we're actually handing the football off to the younger generation, saying, okay, it's your turn to take us to the next level.
Thank you for the confidence, but I don't think I have enough intelligence for that. Gotta be honest.
Oh, you do. You do. I think you're very good at what you do.
Sir, I can't even remember a simple math formula.
That's all right.
Sometimes I should have listened. Honestly, I should have listened to my math teacher a lot more.
Study a little physics. Physics, I believe, has a huge role in what we do. Just understanding the nature of this planet, understanding the basics of what happens around us. And if we can manipulate it, again, the paranormal is such a fine line between here and there. And it's just going to take a little bit of experimenting with certain types of theories, formulas, and now with the technology, I think we can actually crack the code and open that up. Again, we have to be very careful what we do because we know the society we live in. People don't like anything that odd and unusual. It's like you can't go on a talk show on TV and say, hey, guess what? I was talking to Elvis last night at 2 a.m. and he wanted to say this to you. They'll all still label you. So we have to do it slowly. We have to bring, I always say, the normal into what we do. We have to get them to understand why we do it and show them the process before we could really just start throwing this evidence out. Because I think it would cause a mass hysteria throughout this country, because I still believe they're not ready for the full here we go. Look at here's your past relatives. They have a message for you. I might put a lot of people over the edge or cause a lot of pain, which we don't want to do. Definitely don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. We're nice. Don't worry, guys. We're nice. All right. And then, what did your family think about you investigating? Were they okay with it, or were they more skeptical about it?
Well, my mom, she was an angel. She supported everything we did. Whatever we chose to do, she was always behind us. She had a fascination for this. She really did. She loved Halloween. She loved the scary, the unusual. And I think that's where I got it from. She was incredible. She was around today. I think she would be in heaven with everything we're doing, even with all the TV shows on. She can watch all this. But she was very supportive. She used to ask me, did anything come at you? Are you okay? And she would always end it with a joke. If you're possessed, there's a gallon of holy water over on the cupboard. Feel free to have a couple swigs. She was really open about it. And that's why I think that's why I had such a good relationship with my mother.
And do you believe that she's still around today?
Yes, I do. Wow. Yes, I do. I believe she comes with me on quite a bit of what I do. I actually had an EVP of a woman saying, stop, don't go down that way, think about it. And I didn't know what it was. And then when I listened to it with headphones, it sounded like my mother. And she was with me, guiding me, saying, hey, don't go down there, there's danger. And I didn't. I listened to the voice. I stopped, and then later that day I was asking the person, what's down this hall? And the lady told me, oh, I forgot to tell you not to go down this hall. There's gaping holes in the floor. And either I would have fell into the basement or something else. But it's kind of nice knowing that she has my back through this as well. And I believe it was her. I truly believe it was her.
That's so sweet. I'm sorry. That is so sweet.
I'm telling you, there's nothing like moms. We treasure them.
Mm-hmm. Or dads,
Or dads, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Treasure your parents, kids. That's a lesson that we learned today.
Absolutely.
Because who knows? Maybe they'll save you from a gaping hole in the floor.
Someday they will. Or something else. You never know. They might tell you the lottery numbers. They'll say, hey, here you go. Here's the 9 numbers. Play them. Become a millionaire.
Mother, father, if you don't do this for me, or if you don't come back to help, I'm crying. But yeah, it's very sweet that she sticks behind and helps you out.
It was, and I still have that recording. And again, it's on a floppy drive. Those are the old ones. Those are the big 3.5 floppy drives. And I still have it inside the journal saying, this is the voice of my mom. Have I heard from her since? Not really. I will get messages from her, but I think she has total confidence in what I'm doing now. And she would have loved this store. She would have loved what I've done so far. She always says that I didn't need to be in the corporate world. I needed to express my creativity a little more. Now I understand why. But it's never too late. Never too late to advance yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then you have a spirit in your store, correct?
Oh, we have plenty. This store, since you've been here, we've remodeled. We've actually taken out part of the wall. We opened it. We had to cut through 3 brick walls to get to the other side. Mm-hmm. And we did have spirits prior to that, but it seems like we've opened this up, and now spirits have a doorway to come in anytime they want. We're getting more and more visuals. Some of my, some of my friends, I'm sure you know who Tim Shaw is, and Frank Koopa. They're incredible people where we have out in this area. We were setting up the venue, and we had witnessed 2 entities to anomalies that had happened throughout the night. We were setting up the stage, and we were in awe. And I have customers that actually will leave the store because they see something. You hear voices all the time, especially at night when I lock up. I'll lock the door, and I always say goodnight, and I'll hear goodnight back. And now I'm starting to record it, and I'm catching them. And I'm hearing a lot more now that I'm recording as well. Eventually, we're going to have live feed cameras in here that you can watch it for 4 hours at night just to see if anything happens. But I'm still working on that. I'm a little slow when it comes to catching up with that stuff. I just figured I'll get all this stuff done first. But eventually, my guess is by 2022, it's going to be up and running. It'll be something fun to watch, too.
Mm-hmm. And going back to, like, when I visited, do they still hate the bamboo recorders?
Oh, those, yes. They get agitated. It's funny. You still got it, yes.
Yeah.
Anytime, I have rain sticks here. Anything that we play, especially like a drum, the bamboo recorders, the mahogany flutes, they'll get a little like, okay, we've had enough, and they'll toss something. And what they like to throw are the crystals. For some reason, the crystals will scurry out of the bowls and land on the floor. It's fine. I always tell them, I'm sorry. I didn't want to upset you or anything like that, but please try not to throw anything fragile because if it breaks, I'm out. But I did put a voodoo doll on the top of the molding that's at the top of about 10 feet up in the air. There's a crown molding, and I put this pinkish purple voodoo doll, and they like to throw this thing. And it's not just knock it down. It looks like it's flying through the air, and it always heads towards the rear storeroom. We had a lot of people witness this thing take off, and they don't understand how it flies in such a straight line and then drops down through the door. And I always tell them, well, that's what makes it so odd. It's unusual. It's not normal, and that's how we classify things as paranormal because we don't understand what's going on. But we noticed that it's always trying to get us to go back there. And when we do go back there, I think the communication is a little more intense. So I don't know if they draw energy from something that's back there or whatever, but we get better EVPs back there.
And do you think it's just the shop in general that pulls the energies in, or is there something else that the building might be holding?
Well, this building has a lot of history. It's from 1890. It started off as a medical facility. In the front of the building, if you stand in front of the building, you look at it, it looks top heavy. Like it's just an odd shaped building. It has a cupola with a huge dome up top. And they used to put those there because that's how people in 1890s and early 1900s would find where the medical places were. And this place had a lot of death through it. It saw the Spanish flu. Again, it had some tragedy inside this building. We found out by doing some investigations on it. We think it's a huge part of it. So I just think there's over a century of just, oh my goodness. And it's just, there's a lot. There's a lot of energy here. And I think by this store, by people coming into it, knowing what to expect, bringing that energy, it just fuels it even more. And I truly believe the spirits are happier than they were before. Because you'll hear them laugh, and they're more interactive when I do the live feeds out of here as well. They're not afraid to talk, and I love that.
They're not paid actors, guys. They just love doing what they do.
That's exactly right. And I would say they're my real employees.
To be honest, they're probably getting paid more than I do on a weekly basis. I get paid by the season.
There you go. I think I pay them with just energy. I'll put up a couple energy things, like some Van de Graaff energy ports. I use a styrofoam cup or something like that. They can absorb the energy and they can have more fun that way.
All I can imagine you just like setting out crystals in a line, like, here's your weekly payment, guys. Have fun.
Yes, I do.
So, have you ever had like a ball in your shop or like a balloon? Have you ever tried that?
The balloons, yes. The only time we can really do the balloons, though, is when there's no furnace or air conditioner on. The circulation through the store is quite intense. We have an overpowering system in this building. The ball, this building, again, being 1890, it leans backwards. So if I put a ball, this ball will run from the front of the store all the way to the back. There is no level surface in this building, and that's what makes it so great. You're walking here up a hill one way, and then you're descending 2 feet down, just a foot in front of you. It's so ironic. But again, it's gravity. This is what happens with old buildings. Gravity is always tugging on them, pulling on them, trying to get them to come down, and they start to become unlevel. And but it makes it fun. I mean, the ball, I remember we tried it, and it just took off, and I'm thinking, wow, this building's really not level at all.
Yeah, I know a couple buildings that have that issue. I can't remember what the name of one of them was, but you would set a ball in the corner, and then it would run to the middle of the room. And it would be one of those coin things that they have at libraries or museums where it goes in a circle. And it just goes down this little chute.
And
that's how the building was. That's how the building was. And I was just sitting there nice.
That's what our field is up against. We deal with a lot of old structures. And when we start to use these certain tools, it's challenging. It really is. Even when you hang a pendulum. And that's how you can tell right away. Put a pendulum on a stand on the floor, and you can have a dot in the middle showing level, and you'll see which way the floor is slanting. And it's usually quite a bit.
Well, that's nice to know. Now I know how to level things.
There you go. It's more of the physics playing there. I always say use the string and a pendulum. Hang it from anywhere, and you'll tell what's plumb and what's not.
All I can imagine is just me in a random place setting a pendulum down, just okay, tell me, is this place even?
Spells out no.
Oh no, my apartment, it's uneven. Well, guys, there goes my shelf. It's just gonna fall over. What a shame.
That's all right. Some people call that paranormal.
It's okay. Just nail it to the wall. It'll be fine.
Everything's nailed to the wall in this place. Holy cow. Everything is.
And then for the people that, are, scared, when they see something, you should have, a little chalkboard that, marks each and every time.
We used to, if someone saw a ghost, it was up front. We had this little box that was on the wall, and it had a little ghost on it. And you would unhook it, and you would move it to, I believe. It would show them all non-believing. And if you witnessed or heard something in the story, you would go up, you would take one of the little ghosts, it was a little charm, off the hook, and you would move it over to I believe. And by the end of the week, about 60% of those ghosts were moved over to I believe. I thought that was kind of neat. That means people were witnessing and hearing things here quite a bit. Again, with the new part of the building that we opened up, I think that just gave them a raceway between the two sides. And boy, oh boy, are they using it. Because that's 90% of our visuals come flying out of that room. And then you'll hear a scream, and I'm thinking, what is it going to do next? And people are like, oh, I'll come back, and they leave. It's like, okay. And I play back the video and the security, and there it is. It comes right out of the room. Like a flying, the way it looks like someone's taking a tablecloth and flying it through the air. It doesn't look like a person. It's just like a fluttering tablecloth flying through the air. And then it's gone, which is pretty neat. Maybe it is a tablecloth for all I know.
The stereotypical ghost. What can I say?
Yeah, and it's funny. It's not the actual hanging down. The cloth is vertical or horizontal. Excuse me. Instead of being vertical, it's horizontal when the cloth comes. And I used to say to myself, well, maybe it is a cloth. I'm going to go count my tablecloths I have over there and see if they're all there. Because you hear manipulation of items, I feel, well, maybe it is taking a tablecloth for all we know. But they're always still all on the shelves, and they're all there. And who knows? But we're going to do more investigating here. Come 2022, I'm going to dedicate certain nights where I can study this building thoroughly with different people so we can get a wide range of what exactly is here. It's fascinating, and it makes it nice for me because I don't have to go anywhere anymore. I can just study it here. But it does make it difficult when my family comes, because my wife is against this. She's terrified. And every time she walks through the door, she'll say out loud, "Please leave me alone. You can bother them, but leave me alone." And I'm thinking, well, we'll see if that triggers them to come after you even more. But it seems to work. They leave her alone. So then I think we have pretty good spirits here. Pretty good.
Yeah. Honestly, all I can imagine is like the tablecloth trick, like where they have like stuff set on the table and then like they yank the tablecloth. They just do that each and every time.
Yes.
And then they just put it back.
I'll have to try that. When I set up the tables in there, I'll tell them, "Hey, go ahead, take it now and see if it works." Wouldn't it be crazy if all the tables emptied out that way? In the split second, all the tablecloths come ripping off and the stuff stays there. Now that would make great video.
I can even do the trick with the fork in the middle of the table, so if the spirit can do that, I'm going to be 1, amazed, and 2, jealous.
Yes, I would too. We'll have to go on tour with these ghosts. Have dinner, they'll clean your table in a second without moving a dish.
Welcome to the Ghosty Ghost restaurant.
I tell you. I don't know, maybe that will go one day. You never know. I think people are opening up more and more to this, that having a haunted restaurant and advertising is that, I think would do very, very well, especially between September and October.
I'll move in right across the street and we'll have like a partnership.
There you go. We'll take down that used car dealership across the street. We'll build a nice restaurant.
The Ghosty Ghost restaurant.
There
Welcome.
Absolutely. I like this idea.
And then like we can have like matching aliens in front of the store.
Oh, the alien. Did you know my alien got hit by a car this past week? It blew off its hook and it went right in the middle of a 4-lane highway. And can you imagine the person running this thing over thinking, what did I just hit? It looked like an alien. And it's flattened out pretty good. It's missing an eye, and it's got a skin mark on its back. Yes. So we're actually going to do a live broadcast. We're having 3 nurses coming in. They want to do a live broadcast to fix this alien live on the internet. It was, and the guy brought it and goes, "Oh, wow, this thing is, we're so sorry." And it looked like a truck hit it too, of all things. But I'm thinking to myself, wow, it's flat as a pancake. So we found the eye, and the eye is cracked up, and we're going to fix it. We're going to get him out there. We're going to make him whole again. We're going to paint him up and hang him back on his hook. Scares
this
me.
Poor alien.
Oh, he's been around since day one that the store opened up. He was originally supposed to be a shadow figure in the corner of the store. I painted him all black, and he was supposed to have this figure standing in the corner to represent a shadow figure. And I kept looking at him going, I don't know. I put different hats on him, and then I put an alien mask on him. I said, oh, he needs to be an alien. So I painted him neon green. And I put these big eyes on him, and the eyes were an Easter egg. From Easter, they used to hold chocolate. You know, it separates in the middle, and I would use those as the eyes. It worked.
Well, guys, now we know how to make our own DIY aliens.
There you go. See, who'd you hear from? The crazy guy from Buffalo.
No, just imagine, like, all the paranormal investigators, they just have, like, a little homemade alien outside their house.
Wouldn't that be great? That would be something. Then they all can fly away and meet somewhere and plan the destruction of the human race and fly back home before morning.
As long as I don't get hit by a truck.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty good chance around here it's going to happen. Yeah, I'm still shocked. They got him in the back room. I look at him and I say, "What did you do?" Joking around with it because it had to come off of a hook that was 12 inches of rope hanging. So they had to get pretty good elevation to get off that hook. But you know what? It was a little windy, so, we'll see what happens. I'm just glad the people brought him back in. The way they carried him in, too, was like they were carrying a dead person. They said, your alien was hit by a vehicle. And I'm like, oh, no. He laid it right on the floor and walked out. I'm like, oh, that ain't good.
Oh, my gosh.
I was shocked. I go, wow, we can't get any flatter than that.
We got a new rug, guys. Can you believe it?
I tell you, instead of a bear rug, we got an alien rug. But the only thing I could think of is what came across the person's mind when they saw this thing fly into the road and they ran it over. Like, what did I hit? And because it still gets me going here. That's why you got to put an outside camera, because I would have loved to have seen that. That's something.
Just imagine you're just driving down the road, calm night, something hits your windshield and all you hear is screaming.
Yeah, just a pure panic of, is that E.T. I just hit here? Who is this guy? Probably looked right at him as they were hitting it. Oh, but it definitely had to be a truck. The tire track on its backside is pretty big. And I'm thinking, yeah, 18-wheeler took this thing down. And it's flat. I just can't get over how flat it made it. But we're going to rebuild it. We're going to rebuild this thing live, too.
I'll be there.
They're all going to be dressed in their nurses and scrubs. And we're going to have a camera up top. We're going to have a camera on the side. And we're going to go live. We're going to put the spotlights on them. You're not going to see anyone behind them. And they're going to take it apart, re-spend it, wrap them again, and then we'll paint them up, make them look all brand new. And it'll be amazing when it's done.
Someone's going to walk into the store and think, what did I just walk into?
When they see these people walking out with scrubs and green paint on their hand. We'll just tell them there's an ET in the back. We had to fix him up.
Oh, nah, guys. It's all fine. Alfie's just in the back having a grand old time. Yeah. He's on the phone with ET after surgery. It's all fine.
It went well.
No need to worry. No need to worry. He's fine. Just shop for your crystals. Your incense are over there. 50% off. Don't worry.
Just ignore what's going on over in the corner there. Just leave him alone. You imagine what the spirits might think when they're here? They're probably looking, going, of all the people we could have gotten in this location, we got this crazy guy here. But it's awesome. I think they enjoy it. I really do. Because it's never a boring day around here. Never is. Never is. And I love that. And we have so many incredible people out in the West New York area, too, that come by. And it's a place for people to relieve their stress, and I love that. People say they come in here and they feel good, and they feel recharged when they leave, and that's what's important to me. That was the ideal message I wanted to convey when I opened this store. It's a place for people to go. And we'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be another branch somewhere. Maybe. Who knows?
I mean, I'm willing to partner up. There could be one in Iowa. Who knows?
Why not? Absolutely. And it's a lot of fun. It's never... I used to go to work and I would dread Mondays. I never dread a Monday again. It's just, it feels good. I see all the things that we do here, and it's like, oh, I look forward to Mondays now. And hopefully everyone can too. And we're going to have a lot of fun things this week too, with the week before Christmas, which is nice. And a lot of eggnog to be drunk around here.
Yeah. So, in what way did you expand the shop? Like, if you can describe that.
Okay. Right now, I am sitting in the spell house. I remember when you were here, it was up against the wall. It was a place where you can come to make all any type of spells you want. Now I actually have it in a house. We built these little walls. It looks like a little house you're sitting in. It's got a little fireplace. It's got lights on the ceiling. It's kind of neat. It's a place, again, for people to come in here and relax, make some spells. We decided to take that out, and we opened the wall that is where that spell center was. And that was going to be our direct exit and entrance to the new venue that we opened up. But when the architects came over and they said, geez, you got 3 solid brick walls you're going to have to cut through. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, what did I get myself into here? We did. I spent a lot of nights here just cleaning and cutting and cleaning and cutting. And we took over a month to cut these holes. We had to put a new floor in between there because it's about a 6 to 12-foot walk through a mystical hallway, I call it, to get to the other side. There's a gargoyle with black light. There's a nice little tree in there, a purple tree. There's a moon. There's purple lighting coming down onto the floor. It's really mystical. And then you enter into the other side of the building, which is a mirror shot of the store. So everything you see here in the store, the size, is the same thing on that side. And we turn that into an open venue. So it's wide open. And we set up for mini concerts, lectures, crafting, anything, gallery reads. We do little mini psychic fairs with between 3 and 5 psychics. We have movie nights. We have our cooking show, paranormal cooking. We do a live cooking show out of there. It's just so much fun, and we always have studio audiences as well. That's our main goal with that side. It's done up with dark blue walls, so it looks like the night sky, and it's cut in half, and on the top is a grayish color that we light up with different type of wall lighting, so we can go orange, red, purple, blue, green, and the same with the lights on the ceiling. We can change any color, so we can set the ambience to whatever event somebody wants, and it's been incredible. We've had a very large success with Witches Night Out here, with the gathering of the witches. Incredible. They always have a great time. We've had Dustin Pieri was here. Daniel Class brought in Dustin Pieri, and what a show it was. Things like that. We do our live paranormal cooking, which is, oh my gosh, we can't cook. We found that out. But we get the sample with the live studio audience. It's been a lot of fun. It's just a great place just to come and hang. And when there's nothing going on in there, we just have meetups. Where we'll make one night a meetup night where we'll talk paranormal, we'll talk aliens, we'll talk metaphysical, spiritual, doesn't matter. We just pick a topic and we run with it. And it's a lot of fun. Notice that I've taken on quite a bit. I'm still a sole proprietor, meaning I don't have any employees. I didn't know it was going to get this big this fast. But I might be hiring in 2022, start to expand a little more. But I don't know why. I'm supposed to be retiring, and I'm going the other way. I'm starting part 2 of my life up, I guess. But this is a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun.
For paranormal cooking, I could teach everyone how to burn water.
You know what that's called? Boiling.
Whoa. Would have never guessed.
But it's fun. Like I said, I'm not a cooker. Well, I cook a little bit, but I'm not a cooker. We do have a paranormal team out here that can cook phenomenal. Every time they're on the show, it's like, wow. And the food doesn't last long. Between the audience and us, we devour it, and it's gone. But it strikes up. And the reason why I came up with this is because I wanted people to be relaxed. When you're cooking, you open up more. And you want to talk more, and it's more relaxed. You're enjoying it. You're tasting great food, enjoying whatever beverage you're having, and it just opens the people up to who they are. And I think that's a touch that's it's tough to do. But by the end of the night, you can see that they're fully open. They're having a good time, and that's what it's about. And also, we get a lot of leftovers if there's any left.
Honestly, I'll be on the cooking show just to teach people how to burn anything.
That's all right. We'll call it burnt toast. I am good at burning stuff. I burn everything because I grew up on burnt food. That's the way I was. My grandfather used to burn everything and said it was healthy for you. If you don't burn it, it's not done right. I'm thinking, so I grew up that way. My mom's like, what are you teaching him? And I still burn everything, especially toast.
Mm-hmm. For me, like, I can cook breakfast, but then I'll forget about it, and then I'll come back and it's charred to a crisp. Same with macaroni and cheese. I forgot that on the stove once. The only reason I knew that it was there is because I smelled the smoke from the other room.
See how easy it is to forget things on the stove, and it's done so easy. I'm good at that too, but I usually leave it in the back room. I'm good for microwaving my lunch, and then I'll get busy. I forget about it, and I'll go back there. I'm like, oh, what smells? I open the microwave. I'm thinking, oh, it's the exploded soup stuff all over the inside because I must have had 4 minutes on it or something.
That's how I am. I literally forget everything. Like, what I'll do is I'll start doing it. I'm really focused. And I'll be like, I need to go grab something. And then I'll go do that. And then I'll remember, oh, wait, that correlates to this. And then I'll go do that. And then I'll just forget about it. Like, all completely.
Yep. That's all right. That's called being youth. You're young. That's the way it works. Eventually, you'll get out of it, and then you get back into it. Because when you get older, you get just like that. And it's a lot of fun, though. We always have fun here. Sorry for the microphone here. I think it fell off. There we go.
It's fixed.
Back. It's there. There it is. I'm just glad this computer's holding.
Honestly, thank you.
Oh, me too. I am just pleased that this Mac is holding. It's an old Mac, too. Old.
I'm using a Chromebook in my
Are you?
Like, my Wi-Fi it's spotty.
That happens. We depend on Wi-Fi. And I always tell people, Wi-Fi is great when you plug it in with your Cat5 cable to a computer right to the internet. You can have the lowest speed internet. It'll never, ever affect it. It's the Wi-Fi signal that's bouncing off the walls and you and the clock behind you. It's starting to bounce around. But if you do direct connect, you'll never have a problem.
Well, now I know what I need to invest in. All right. So, what events do you have coming up?
All right. Well, we just booked a bunch of stuff for January. I am basically closed down the venue from this week. So we wanted to take it easy for Christmas. But let me see here what we have. We have so much coming. It's unbelievable. We have Tim Shaw is going to do a seance called Table Tipping. I don't know if you ever heard of anything like that. It's an incredible thing. We're going to have 6 to 7 tables with about 4 people per table. And we're going to get these tables to rock and roll. And we're going to get Spirit to communicate with us. He's going to have personal gallery reads. We have classes, which 101 we have coming. We have the Feminine Macabre. She's coming in to do a lecture on the female role in the paranormal, how it has advanced, and it's incredible. She's such a very knowledgeable. She's written all these books, and she's very, very smart when it comes to this, and I can't wait for that lecture. We're going to have, we're having Sundays as meditation. Sundays we're going to learn to meditate. We're going to do crafting. We're going to have voodoo doll night. We're going to have build the witch's assistant doll. We're going to do sugar skulls. We're going to have paranormal gear build night. Build your own spell box. We have Nick Roth coming with Tess on the 22nd. They're coming into town here to do a gallery read and an info lecture, which is going to be a lot of fun. I think I might have forgot a few things, but that's okay. But on the paranormal classes, we got a boatload of paranormal classes are coming as well. So that's all coming for just January. February, we got a lot of Valentine's things. Again, we're going to be the odd and unusual. You're going to make Valentine love voodoo dolls. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. It's not your standard go out to dinner thing. We like to throw a twist into things and make Valentine's something special. Because 2 years ago, I had it done. I had the same class, and it was all FBI agents. The FBI came in and booked the entire night for their staff, and I was like, this is the oddest thing I've ever seen. But it was great. They had a fun time. They were there till 3 o'clock in the morning making all this incredible stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to book again. I know.
That's having the FBI.
I know. Only me can bring in the FBI that way. Isn't that crazy? I'm thinking to myself, okay, guys, now I'm on your side. Remember, you're not going to haul me away, are you?
Remember, guys, if you cut my connection, you won't know about any of the aliens. Remember that.
That's right. Or I can make multiple voodoo dolls of FBI agents. That would be scary, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that I have 2 voodoo dolls that I got. I have one on my little chair and then one in the other room, I think.
Very good. And voodoo's nothing bad. It's always it's good stuff. It's just another religion. Hollywood gives voodoo a bad name. It's really not like that.
Yeah. So, carrying on with the alien, what are your thoughts on them?
Oh. Well, I think it has a big role in what we do. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're alone. I think we're being monitored on this planet. I think some of the EVPs we get and some of the interaction could possibly be them. It's just ironic that when we do an EVP session and we get the same word, get out, in all these different locations, and it sounds the same, is that just a natural thing that they pump down for anyone doing stuff like this, and it's just a recording, and we're picking it up? I don't know. I don't believe we're alone, because that would be, I think, a foolish thing, just because of the size of space itself. I believe we're put here for a reason. You look at the Egyptians and the Mayans and any other old cultures, they really don't exist anymore. I don't understand why the Egyptian model, which way it was, hundreds of years ago, now it's different when they were so advanced back then. Doesn't make sense. Usually generations will show progression. I think we actually stepped back from what they were doing. They can build huge structures, cut brick like there's no tomorrow at perfect right angles and everything. So that tells me they probably had a little help in it. They were more, in tune with, E.T. Yeah. Do they live amongst us? We don't know. If they do, wow, they're pretty good. A quick story. At the Hinsdale house, I had taken a friend of mine who was working in the police force, and he's very skeptical. It takes a lot for him to go, and we had witnessed a shadow figure that had an ET similarities, a larger head, smaller body. And it didn't set off any of the gear when it walked by. It slowly walked by, and it looked like it actually glanced at us. Again, we couldn't see any features, just the figure of it. And he was in shock. So was I when I saw that. And it proceeded out through the window area. And I think that helps me, lead down the same road that I do believe that they play a big role what we're looking for. Someday we'll know. We'll know. I think it's, again, your generation is going to experience alien encounters, different types of species. I think the government's starting to prep us for that now. I really do. I think it's we're getting more visuals through military, and they're releasing more and more documents. So it's just a matter of time. And if we did see something now, how shocked would we all be? Probably not too shocked. Oh, it looks like the same thing we saw float in the sky. Yeah, we're not like, it's not like opening the door and there's, the movie E.T. here, Elliot. And I don't think we would be that shocked if something were to come out or someone would say, another government says, oh yeah, we have a ship, we have these people. We'll see. It's always interesting though, isn't it? The unknown. I just love it. And I think we're heading the right, direction. So I'm not sure if I'll see it, but I guarantee you will see it. You'll be around when it's exposed.
Yay! I'll be around.
But I'll donate my alien to you when I go, okay? Mr. Flatbody.
So, making a wild accusation, do you like the movie E.T.?
Do I? I never liked it. I don't know why. I didn't. It's too soft and fluffy for me. I like stuff that has. This is back in the 80s where, E.T. and made them, fell in love with the boy and it made you cry at the end. I mean, what alien movie I liked was the movie Signs with Mel Gibson. Did you ever see that one?
I haven't even seen E.T. before, to be honest.
No? Okay.
I've only seen Elf.
Elf?
Elf.
That's all right. But that's what I think is more my tune for an entity. I don't think they're going to be soft and fluffy how we expect. I think they'll be far more intelligent, but still as fragile as we are. So, I mean, it's just the way it is, where everything is fragile if it's life.
You know what? One day I'm going to go down to your shop, and I am going to bring an alien-themed phone for the shop.
Yes, that would be awesome. And now if you walk around the store, you're going to see these little aliens tucked around everywhere, too. There's alien heads here and there, and they're very discreet, but they're there. They're there.
No, like the promotion phones that they have for, like, the movie E.T. and Elf and, like, Garfield?
Yes,
I'm going to find one of those.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, with E.T. Like an E.T. phone.
Elliot.
Pick up the phone.
Call home now. You're missing. What? Huh? The thing would talk to me in the middle of the night. What? You hear a phone?
Just imagine, like, you pick up the phone instead of hearing, like, the dial tone, it's E.T. call home or something.
Yeah,
like
call, dial now. What?
Pardon? That's all I can imagine with that.
You're probably right on that, too. Because I love that stuff. I actually have a red phone here. And it's meant for after Ghostbusters. It's the Ray when he's in his cult store, the bookstore, and he picks up the red phone. He's like, he gives the numbers. I have that same phone here. And I'll take calls through that phone. And there's a reason why I have that red phone. Dan Aykroyd's a great, great person. And he believes in the red phone is the communication to spirit. And that's why he insisted in the movie it had to be a red phone. So hopefully someday I would love to sit down and have a face-to-face conversation with him just to go over more stuff. Really
invite me down.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, yes. now I have to have a red phone. Like, that's not negotiable. I have to have a red phone. At least now I do.
Red phone? Yep. And they're everywhere. Mine's an old one too. It's got push buttons. The other one's got a rotary where you dial it. You actually have to spin the wheel around to a certain number. But the one that's actually working that I have in here is a digital, but it looks just like the old-fashioned phone, and I love it. I love it.
That's fun. All right. Well, I'm starting to see the Shadow Man running the corner, telling me that our time is almost over, and I'd really like to thank you for coming on with me and my listeners.
Well, thank you. It was an honor to be here. It really was. I enjoy doing this.
It was very fun, I'm going to admit.
Good, good. That's what it's about. You're all having fun. And that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now for all my listeners out there, I'd really like to say thank you for being with me tonight. My next show will be January 16th, and I'll have my first return guest, as I will have Miranda Young and Chris Sumner, who are proud owners of the new haunted location in Huntsville, Tennessee. I want to thank you all so much for following me, and I will be back in a few months. Make sure if you're not following me, give me a follow at Madison Paranormal Investigation on Facebook and Maddie_Paranormal_Investigation on Instagram. So for tonight, peace, love, and happiness, and a very Merry Christmas. Or Hanukkah, But most of all, stay spoopy, everyone.